In the near future, humanity is striving to colonize our solar system. We've already conquered the moon, and now we have set our eyes on Mars. The first ever manned flight to the Red Planet is underway. Led by astronaut Chapayev, this group of brave men and women have reached Mars orbit. But upon entering the Red Planet's atmosphere, their spaceship is hit with a massive dust storm. Back on Earth, the head of Mission Control, Alexander, orders the team to abort mission and get out of the sandstorm, but the storm is too much for the full landing module. Alexander then orders the team to detach themselves from the main landing module, but the device fails, and it will now require for a person to manually dismount it. Chapayev, sacrificing himself, goes to the main landing module and detaches it manually, freeing the others to leave the atmosphere safely. Alexander orders for the mission to be fully aborted, and the rest of the team start their journey back to Earth as Chapayev crashes with his ship. The atmosphere of the Mission Control has dampened. Alexander goes to a reporter to inform the public of what just happened. The first ever manned mission to Mars has just failed, and it has taken one of the best people with it. Meanwhile, on Mars, we see the crashed ship. It is heavily damaged, but luckily Chapayev has survived. The ship is nuclear-powered, and the electricity room has survived the crash, so Chapayev is able to restore connection to Mission Control. Just as Alexander is announcing the death of Chapayev, he is told Chapayev is alive. He rushes back to Mission Control, followed by dozens of reporters, and Chapayev's first footage from Mars is broadcasted live to the public. Alexander starts thinking of a way to get Chapayev back. He asks Minister Rogachev to send another manned mission soon, but Rogachev tells him they have already spent trillions on this mission, and that they won't spend that much again just for one person. Later, Alexander gets a call from a CEO of a giant broadcasting company. The CEO proposes a show that starts Chapayev. The CEO tells him this could get a lot of revenue and Alexander can use that money to bring back Chapayev. Alexander is not happy with creating the show, but he understands this is the only way to get his best friend back, so he agrees to allow the company to create the show. Alexander starts the Chapayev rescue program. Chapayev's ship will only have power for 13 months, so the team will have to work day and night to be able to get him that window of time. Chapayev will also need to ration his food if he is to survive, and to help with his mental stability. Psychologist Anna will be keeping track of him. On Mars, Chapayev activates an AI-powered rover to access the area. The rover roams around and notices unidentifiable movement outside, but that disturbance quickly disappears. Chapayev then talks to Alexander about the TV show. He also understands that is the only way to save him, so he agrees to do it. The next day, the TV station crew takes over Mission Control and starts building sets. Alexander calls the CEO and complains that this is now what they agreed on, but the CEO reminds him this is all for Chapayev. TV host Kisha starts off the show and introduces the world to Chapayev. The show is designed like a dramatic reality show to capture audiences, but Chapayev doesn't play too much into it. Chapayev simply shares what he has learned about Mars. He also gives a passionate speech about humanity can do better, which gets to the viewers' hearts, and he becomes instantly loved. Few days go by and Chapayev is starting to feel the effects of loneliness. One night he hears strange noise coming from the outside, and he reports to engineer Peter, who is also Anna's boyfriend, but Peter doesn't detect anything that is unusual. Anna believes Chapayev is hearing things because of his stressed mind and dismisses his concern. Chapayev has become an international sensation. He is loved and watched by everyone, and the money is pouring in. Chapayev inspires millions of kids to pursue science and gives lessons that are watched by millions of people. The CEO then asks to get more broadcast time, to which Alexander refuses because for every broadcast Chapayev is using energy. But the CEO convinces him by telling him the more money they can get, the sooner they are able to rescue Chapayev. Alexander runs the idea by Chapayev, and he agrees, so his broadcast time gets doubled. Chapayev gets even more famous, and he starts having classes just for kids. His teaching becomes part of the curriculum, and his words are followed as gospel. Anna continues to talk to Chapayev every day, and the two grow to become close friends. But this makes Peter jealous, and he starts trying to make Anna spend less time at the office. But that gets her angry, and their relationship starts to crack. When not being a TV star, Chapayev does experiments in his ship to pass the time. He keeps hearing the strange noises, and for the first time we see a strange-looking light roaming around his ship. One night while Chapayev is working, this strange light starts covering the whole ship. This gives Chapayev a massive headache. But then everything calms down and Chapayev starts to hear his mother's voice. He is filled with joy as he is in a trance state, and he experiences things that he can't even make out. The next day, Chapayev is giving his usual class to kids. He tells them about the universe, space, and Earth. One of the kids then asks him if he thinks there are aliens, and Chapayev responds by saying that he has already encountered one. He reveals to everyone that he has been hearing voices and that he felt like someone was trying to communicate with him. And yesterday night it finally did. This story creates panic in mission control as the news reports aliens are real. Some believe Chapayev, but most believe he is losing his mind. Anna thinks Chapayev is hallucinating things because of the loneliness and stress, so she asks to have a private session with him. Anna asks him to describe what he felt, and Chapayev reveals that the voices he heard seem to express what is inside him, as if he is the cause of everything happening at Mars. He comes to the conclusion that everything that happens in the universe is affected by humans. Humans can create love and harmony, but they can also be destructive and kill everything off. Chapayev believes he is the cause for what is happening on Mars, and that humans are the cause for what is happening on Earth. But on Earth, there are billions of people, so everything gets jumbled together, so we can't clearly see how each individual affects reality itself. Since Chapayev is on Mars, he is the only one affecting it, and can clearly hear the universe communicating back to him. But after explaining everything to Anna, she concludes he is definitely hallucinating and recommends he takes a break. Chapayev realizes no one is going to believe him, so he ends his meeting with her and shuts off all of his broadcasting cameras. One day while Peter is working, he finally catches a red line on his computer. This indicates disturbance that is coming from another source, meaning this can prove Chapayev is not crazy. Peter rushes to tell Anna, but she thinks he is going to tell her to stop talking to Chapayev, and she flips out on him. She then leaves the office before he can tell her. On the next broadcast, Chapayev does not show up. Anna tries to talk to him, but he ignores her too. The CEO of the TV station is the only person that is not bothered by this. He calls Minister Rogachev and proposes a plan. He tells him he can give him the power he needs and tells him a secret plan on how to make Chapayev endorse Rogachev. Rogachev calls Peter in the middle of the night and summons him to mission control. He then makes him establish communication with Mars. Alexander tries to stop Rogachev, but he is removed from his position and pushed away. Rogachev then talks to Chapayev and tells him he has a business proposal that he can't refuse. We are not shown what his proposal is, but we see from Chapayev's eyes that he was not comfortable. The next day, the TV broadcast starts and Chapayev is on air, but something is different. Chapayev now is full of positive energy and he starts putting on a puppet show about life on Mars. He then promotes a new show called Chapayev's Luck, where he starts giving advice on everything including fashion. He starts calling it the Chapayev way and promotes endless lists of products that are sold everywhere. Anna realizes that something bad must have happened in that meeting with Rogachev and Chapayev. So that night when Peter returns home, she confronts him and demands he tell her everything. Peter then finally tells her that Chapayev is not crazy and that the voices he is hearing is real, but Rogachev has closed all communication to Chapayev, so Anna won't be able to talk to him. The next morning, Alexander meets up with Rogachev. Their money goal has just been reached, so he asks Rogachev to start the mission. But Rogachev reveals to him that there was never a rescue plan. He tells Alexander Chapayev is doomed from the start and that the money raised has suddenly disappeared. He then tells him that the space program has been fully shut down, meaning Alexander has been fired too. Meanwhile on Mars, the rover encounters the strange light-emitting creature. This creature releases an immense amount of electricity and destroys the rover. It then blasts the ship and covers it, which creates that headache on Chapayev. At the same time, Alexander meets up with the CEO of the TV station in person. He has also been betrayed by Rogachev, as he has taken full control of the operation and taken all the money too. But the CEO is still unfazed and he tells Alexander to just wait till the next day. The next morning, Chapayev is giving a speech endorsing Rogachev for president when suddenly special forces burst into mission control. The broadcast is interrupted, and it is revealed that the person that was endorsing was not Chapayev. It was Gisha acting like Chapayev, and the image was computer-generated. The police begin an investigation into the whole Mars mission and announce that this was a scam from the start. They tell the people that there was no crash on Mars, meaning Chapayev doesn't exist. The police assert that the entire story was invented for the show. Rogachev is quickly arrested, and the police take over mission control. Alexander is not even allowed to enter, so he breaks into the building, taking out police officers. He gets shot on the arm. but he manages to take out all the guards and make his way into mission control. He contacts Chapayev and tells him the terrible news. He reveals to him that the government is trying to bury the story by claiming Chapayev actually died on Earth during a training accident. Suddenly the feed cuts off. Then, moments later, breaking news is announced. An American satellite which was observing Mars had just recorded an explosion on Chapayev's ship. This proves that the government lied, but what Alexander and the team are worried about is if Chapayev is dead now. On Mars, we see Chapayev get out of his ship before it blows up. In a monologue, he tells us that humans are the creator of the universe, and that every moment in time is an act of creation. And with that, the movie ends.